Go. Good morning, everybody. So today we are here again for the subject Human Resource Management. The class is Master in Business Administration. The date is April 20th, 2021. The day is Tuesday and the class timings are from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. So yesterday we were discussing about human resource planning. We will be continuing with it, and the topic for today is responsibility for human resource planning in industrial organization, right? Okay. Human resource department of any organization is the center of information network, and therefore it is very much aware about the labor market condition and the skill conditions, right? So the human resource market is very well aware, or is the most aware department about the labor market, right? Wage and salary structures, etc., right? So the major responsibility of coordinating the requirements for staff lies upon the human resource department of any organization, right? According to one study, human resource planning is a function which is assigned to personal department in 96% of the firms which were being surveyed, right? In a survey which was conducted in order to find out that the responsibility of human resource planning lies on which department, then in 96% cases it was found that it is exclusively the responsibility of either human resource department or personnel department at that time, right? Normally the larger is the company, the important is such planning, and that planning is usually done by human resource department of that organization only, because human resource department is the department which is in close contact with the labor market, right? And is having all the information which is required to be used while doing the human resource planning. Now coming down to the next slide, their different departments should be cooperate with the human resource department to uh, in form of data, so that a proper human resource planning can be done, right? Because it is very necessary that all the different departments of the organization should send their human resource requirement to the HR department, so that the HR department may be in a better position to understand that what number of people will they be needing, right? Here the departmental heads of each department are usually being made accountable by the managing director of the company, that you are it is your job to send the human resource requirement in your department, right? That whether you are requiring or you will be requiring human resource in the future, right? Now here, top at the top level human resource, at the top level management, there is a committee that steer or supervise the human resource planning and development, and it involves all the line managers including the board of directors also, right? So that all the people who are all the people who are concerned about the existence of job, right, or who are concerned directly with the process, can be included in a thread, so that nobody is left behind and human resource planning may be done effectively and efficiently without any problem, right? For these line officers and these directors, what they are do, they are sharing information for planning and gaining joint commitment on programs in relation to the human resource planning, right? Now further, in large organization, what is happening, human resource planning is taking place at divisional, plant and departmental levels, right? In manufacturing industry, for example, production schedules are required constant reallocation of people to different assignments almost an hourly basis. Therefore such kind of planning is there at the internal departmental level, but when the planning involves other departments outside which involves outside labor market, it is conducted by the central agencies. That is the reason HR department is developing information by projecting the human needs from the department and considering the transfers, turnovers, and rest of the things. Such data is checked against the information which is developed by different industrial engineering groups who are simplifying the works or the planning about the change in the tools, equipments, and technology in order to meet the staffing needs. Right. Now, let's move further. It right. So this now let's get into the another presentation which talks about the steps in human resource planning, right? So this was basically about the human resource planning. Now we will be discussing about the steps involved in human resource planning, right? We will be discussing about the steps of human resource planning, right? Are you getting the slideshow? Are you getting the slideshow?
Yes, sir.
All right. So now we will be discussing these different steps which are involved in human resource planning, right? Now the process of human resource planning or manpower planning involves a few steps. What are these steps? We will be discussing one by one, right? The first step is determining the objectives of the human resource planning. What will be the objectives of the human resource planning that we will be doing, right? The second step is preparation of skill inventory, right? We have preparation of skill inventory. How we will be preparing the skill inventory, I will also be providing you with a specimen of the same. The third step is demand forecasting for human resource, right? Your projected demand for human resource. Then fourth step is supply forecasting, the projected supply forecast for the human resource. Fifth your gap analysis, right? Now what is fifth is the gap analysis, and sixth is your action plan for redeployment or redundancy, action plan for redundancy or reemployment, right? Action plan for right. Now the seventh step is your employment plans. Okay. Eighth is your training and development programs, right? So these are the 8 steps which are there in the process of human resource planning. Now we will be discussing these different steps of human resource planning one by one, right? The first step is human, right? Now human resource planning is a continuous process which keeps on going on, right? Here the managers are responsible for human resource planning, has to be concerned with all the steps at all the times, and as and when necessary they have to revise or make changes in the human resource planning whenever it becomes necessary, and develop programs from time to time depending upon the changes in the circumstances, such as sudden changes in volume of reduction, unexpected high rate of labor turnover, obsolescence of existing skills, and so on, right? Now coming down to the first step. So these are certain reasons why this kind of planning is further these are some of the reasons why changes in human resource planning is necessary that I have discussed right now, right? Now coming down to the first point, objectives of the human resources planning, right? Now, the ultimate purpose of the human resource planning in an organization is to relate the future human need for human resources to future human resources need, so as to maximize your future return on investment, right? You will be investing your money on the human resource, so you will be getting a good return after investing on the human resource. That is very much necessary, because every business is on cost and benefit basis, right? Cost benefit analysis is very important. If you are investing on your human resource, then only you should be investing only when you are getting return from them. If you are not getting return from them, there is no point of investing on them, right? Now, human resource planning should be integrated with the corporate plans of the organization, right? Which is very much necessary, and it should be done carefully, because its impact are long term. Once you have formulated the human resource planning, its impact will be long term, and you have to face long term impacts. That is the reason it should be done carefully, right? Now, if you have made a wrong forecast of human resource in and wrong analysis is done, it will not be you will not be able to correct it, because you have forecasted the requirement, you have made a wrong forecast of the requirement, you have made a wrong analysis, so it will not be possible to rectify the errors in the short run, right? And you have to face ultimately the consequences. That is the reason human resource planning should be done very properly and patiently, so that no such kind of mistakes may occur or take place, right? Therefore it is necessary, so it should be concerned with filling the future vacancies. It should aimed at filling the future vacancies rather than with matching the existing human resource, right? Its focus should be more on filling the future vacancies with the right people rather than with matching the existing personnels, right? Because it is done for future, right? So it should not be matching the existing persons with existing jobs, which is not very important. Its ultimate objective is to meet the human resource requirement for the future, so that you may be able to get the right people for the right job in the future, right? Now, coming down to the next point, skill inventory, right? Let's see. Analysis of current skill inventory is very necessary from the departmental point of view, right? It appropriate, so that appropriate adjustments can be made in case of any changes in connection to leave entitlement, weekly hours of work, etc., right? Here, assessment of demand for operative personnel is less problematic or less uncertain, and human resource supply can be adjusted easily in case of operative staff, right? But projection of skill requirements in case of supervisors and and managers is a complex problem, right? In operative staff it is not such a problem, but in case of supervisors and managers, right, projecting their skill requirements is a complex problem. Now, the required talents may not be available at short notice in case of supervisors and in case of managers, right? It is therefore necessary that there is a need to ascertain the need for skill inventory in the enterprise, right? That is the reason it is necessary to have the skill inventory for the enterprise. It will also help in drawing training programs to meet the need of certain skills in the future, so that if it is necessary to make your people acquire certain skills, they can be made acquired those skills with the help of training programs, right? The next slide contains the pro forma for skill inventory that you can take a screenshot, right? That how to make the skill inventory for an individual employee. This is the specimen of skill inventory form. It contains information like name of the employee, age of the employee, sex of the employee, dependence of the employee, marital status of the employee, school education of the employee, degrees or diplomas obtains, right, training obtained, training courses that he has been through. Now professional qualification of the employees, right, job areas in which he has been exposed to, job title which he has all to which he has already worked on, right, special skills that he possess, maybe one or maybe two, maybe three, how many special skills do he possess, right. Next is the amount of salary he is drawing. Grade, what is the grade of the employee in the organization? Absenteeism records of the organized employee. Next is disciplinary records. Next, personal data, birthplace of the employee, occupation of the parents of the employee, present address of the employee, permanent address of the employee, telephone number of the employee, in including the mobile number, right, education and training of the employee, experience and skills of the employees, additional information if any, right, career plans of the employees, performance rating of the employee, potential appraisal data if any other information is there in this context, right. So this is the specimen of the skill inventory in case of an employee. Now coming down to the third point, demand forecasting for human resource, right. Now let's understand the demand forecasting for human resource, right. Here the major determinants of future human resource demand are: number one, employment trends, right. What are employment trends? Let's see it. Second is your replacement needs. First is your employment trends method. Second is your replacement needs. Third is your productivity changes. Fourth is your absenteeism, and fifth is your growth and expansion, right. So these are the five different techniques by which we can be projecting the future demand for the human resource. Yeah, we can forecast the demand for the human resource. Now let's see them one by one, right. The first is your employment trend. Here what is happening, human resource planning experts at the corporate level, at the top level, are making an examination of the number of employees on the payroll which are working in your organization during the past 5 years to understand the trend. Okay, what was the trend, right. It, with the help of this, they are determining whether a particular group of employees is stable or unstable, right, whether it is expanding or whether it is contracting, right. So basically here what they are doing, they are analyzing trend of last 5 years, that what had happened in the last 5 years on different groups of employees, right. Now the second, replacement needs, right. Here the need for replacement arises because of death, retirement, resignation and termination of employees, maybe transfers also, right. The examination of replacement need will make you know, when you examine the replacement need, you will be able to understand that what are the needs of specific human resource growth, human resource groups, right, including supervisory skills, clerical skills, etc., right. You will be able to understand the need for human resource here. Certain groups like managerial groups, supervisory groups, it is difficult to predict the need, right, because it involves complication in order to understand the human resource needs at this level, that is the managerial and the supervisory level, right. One of the major three factors involved in predicting the managerial skills is managerial development. Managerial development takes a long time, right? It takes a pretty long period of time, right? For managerial, thus the managerial human resources should be anticipated in advance so that there may not be any problem in understanding the managerial needs, right, at that point of time. Now coming down to the third, productivity, right? It is another important area where human resource planning is related as improvement in productivity, right? Because all the organizations want their employees to be perfectly productive, right? Here, gains in productivity add to the growth potential of the organization and can make it possible that the wage of the employee may get increased, particularly those employees who are giving a very good performance in the sense of productivity, right? Here, gains in productivity, when your employees become more productive, you will not be requiring more human resource, right? Because your employees are getting productive, so you need not to deploy additional human resource in that case, right? If your employees are getting more productive day by day, it will be decreasing your demand for human resource, right? Now, fourth, the absenteeism, right? In estimating the demand for human resource, the absenteeism rate is very much important, right? That what is the rate of absenteeism in the company, it is very much necessary to consider it while estimating the future demand for human resource. Because if the rate of absenteeism or directly affect that whether you need to employ the people or not. The rate of absenteeism can be calculated in the following manner, right? Man days lost due to absenteeism, man days worked plus man days lost. Okay, this is the formula. In case the rate of absenteeism, in case if the rate of absenteeism is considered high, steps should be taken to rectify it, meaning hereby reduce it. If the rate of absenteeism among the employees is high, due steps should be taken in order to reduce the rate of absenteeism, right? And efforts should be made to find out that what is the reason why the rate of absenteeism is very high. Now coming down to the fifth, growth and expansion, right? The expansion plans that organization is having, it should be carefully reviewed so that in order to understand what number of employees you will be required in each department or in each division of the organization, right? Here the accuracy is important because human resource requirement should be accurately done so that required number of employees should be hired and we should not be hiring any kind of surplus or any kind of shortage should be there, right? Now, where the expansion programs are not very specific and time is larger, uncertainties will be also be greater because expansion plans are not specific and time involved is also very large. So it will not be that is the reason determining the human resource estimates or what kind of or what number of human resource we will be needing will also not be certain, right? Because the expansion plans are not specific and moreover the time involved for that particular expansion is also uncertain, or larger the uncertainties in determination or forecasting of the human resource requirement will also be uncertain, right? Now coming down to the fourth, supply forecasting, right? Now what is supply forecast? Let's understand supply forecast.